I too am deeply, deeply opposed to demolishing the building. As I said before, I think there are too many instances in which communities so regret demolishing a building that they now look back on as a gem or a jewel that could have been reused. There are so many buildings that we see now in Chicago and in other cities, and even in our own city, which have been readaptively used in ways that we didn't even imagine as little as 10 years ago. So I really cannot support demolishing this building. If we look at this, there is virtually no harm done to use of the park or use of the beach if the building remains. The $400,000 that's being proposed by the Dunes Group does not begin to cover the cost. And as Alderman Revelle has so carefully said, in a community that prizes being green and prizes our historic preservation, the idea that we would send a bulldozer at this building is shameful. Just shameful. I mean, we as I think Nate Kipnis talked about, the stored energy in every built building that is lost when you demolish it. I mean, we're a greener city than that. Every single aspect of this building is valuable. There's wood in this building that is completely unattainable now. You cannot find wood that is like that now. What the Dunes Group is proposing will cost the city much, much more than the $400,000 they're giving us. Just by the estimates tonight that we've heard, we're at least $150,000 that out of pocket, and probably much, much more. If we simply held on to the building and maintained it as it is, but simply waited for a readaptive use that doesn't cost the city money, that we can all agree on, simply by not going forward with the Dunes process, we have the money. I just cannot fathom how we would accept this MOU, which actually is going to cost us money to demolish the building, something that I can never support. I do think that we are rushing in haste to make a decision because we have a wealthy group of neighbors who maybe have a good purpose, but I don't, whose money has a deadline on it, and I don't accept that. I think that's a terrible way to act. That's not a smart way to do government policy. And because there might be Harley fatigue, just because there's Harley fatigue doesn't mean there isn't a solution in the future. We should just take a time out, mothball the building, and wait until a better idea arrives. How foolish would we all feel if 2 years from now someone has an excellent idea to use the building and says, where is it? So I cannot support this. Thank you.
Alderman.